Imagine a lake so deep, so shrouded in mist, that it swallows entire villages whole. A lake where eerie lights flicker beneath the surface at night, and those who dare to dive never return. But what if I told you there was one man who did return, and what he saw beneath the water was never meant to be found? Tonight, we dive into the chilling true story of the forgotten village beneath the lake. Stay with me till the end, because this one will haunt you long after the screen fades to black. Welcome back, mystery lovers. If you enjoy real-life horror stories, paranormal mysteries, and unsolved legends, you're in the right place. Tonight, we unravel one of the most terrifying underwater secrets ever discovered. But before we dive in, let me ask you, would you ever swim in a lake if you knew something, or someone, was watching from beneath the surface? Let me know in the comments below. Now, let's begin. Every town has its legends, but some are more than just stories. For centuries, locals in a small, forgotten town whispered about Black Hollow Lake. It was once a thriving village, home to farmers, merchants, and families who lived peaceful lives, until one fateful night. The story goes that without warning, the ground beneath the village cracked open. A flood unlike anything seen before surged through, drowning homes, streets, and people in an instant. When the waters finally settled, the entire village was gone, swallowed whole by the lake. But here's where things get really creepy. Fishermen claim they still see lights flickering beneath the water, as if the villagers never left. Some even say that on quiet nights you can hear muffled voices, as if they're still trying to escape. And then there were the disappearances. For years, no one dared to dive into Black Hollow Lake. But then came Ethan Holloway, a professional diver and underwater archaeologist. Ethan wasn't afraid of local legends. He had explored shipwrecks, caves, and even lost cities. When he heard rumors of an intact village beneath the lake frozen in time, he had to see it for himself. But the locals warned him, "You disturb the dead, and they will make you one of them." Ethan shrugged it off. Armed with his diving gear, cameras, and oxygen tanks, he plunged into the lake. And what he found defied everything he had ever known. As Ethan descended, something felt off. There were no fish, no plants, no life, just an unsettling stillness, as if the lake itself was holding its breath. And then, through the murky water, he saw them. Buildings, streets, homes. The village was intact, as if it had been frozen in time. Doors hung open. Rusted carts stood in the streets, their wheels half buried in the lake bed. Even lanterns still swayed from their posts, but there was no current to move them. That's when he saw the lights. They flickered inside the houses. Not reflections, not bioluminescence, but something is alive. And then the shadows began to move. At first he thought it was his imagination, but then he saw them. Figures standing inside the homes, watching. They weren't floating bodies, they weren't skeletons. They were people, frozen in place, their faces twisted in terror. Ethan's heartbeat thundered in his ears. He knew he had found something that was never meant to be disturbed. At the center of the village, a massive stone slab rested in the square. Strange symbols covered its surface, pulsing faintly in the darkness. As Ethan touched the stone, a whisper rippled through the water. "You were not meant to see." The figures moved. Slowly they drifted toward him, their mouths hanging open in silent screams. Their eyes, empty, soulless voids, locked onto him. Panic surged through Ethan. He kicked away, but it felt like the water itself was pulling him down. Then, beneath the stone slab, he saw it. A heart, beating, black and rotten, yet somehow still alive. He grabbed his knife and slashed at the pulsing mass. And that's when the entire lake came alive. A monstrous wail erupted from the depths as the figures began to dissolve. The glowing lights flickered violently, then snuffed out one by one. Before Ethan could react, something yanked him upward. He barely remembered breaking the surface, just the cold air slamming into his lungs and the mist rolling away like retreating shadows. He had escaped. Or so he thought. Ethan never returned to Black Hollow Lake, but some nights, when the water is still and the mist is thick, the villagers can still be seen, standing beneath the water, waiting for the next soul foolish enough to disturb them. So, was it just a legend, or is something truly lurking beneath Black Hollow Lake? Would you dare dive into a place like this? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this terrifying tale, check out our next video on The Train That Never Reached Its Destination, where we uncover another real-life horror that will make you sleep with the lights on. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon because you never know what we'll uncover next. Until next time, stay curious, stay cautious, and stay out of the water.